I'm Senator Chuck Grassley. I thank you very much again for tuning in to Ask Chuck webcast that I do weekly while the Senate is in session, and that's generally about 40 to 42 weeks out of a year. I'm glad to communicate with my constituents this way. And I thank you very much for those of you that sent questions in by email, Twitter, or Facebook. And I'll answer a couple questions for you now, and those people that don't get their questions answered visually and vocally this way will answer your questions through the mail. I'll start first with Charles in Eldora tweets, quote, "Get student loans forgiven as a part of helping the middle class." We ought to do everything we can to help middle-income people go to college. Obviously, we help through the Pell Grant, through the Guaranteed Student Loan Program. For people that take student loans, we recently legislated lower interest rates. We also make availability of funding for every student loan for people that qualify. But also, as a member of the Tax Writing Finance Committee, I've been very active in promoting and getting adopted for legislation over the last 10 years the full deductibility of interest on student loans, as well as college tuition tax deduction. We didn't have full deductibility of student loans interest, and we didn't have any tax credits for going to college, or the tax deduction of college tuition, before I became chairman of the Senate Finance Committee in 2001. Now, that legislation sunset at the end of this year, and I very much intend to get that reenacted so we can continue that help for middle-income students throughout the future. The next question comes from Facebook. Christina in Lamar's asks, "How's the AMT fix coming? We're running out of time." Well, Christina, you're absolutely right. If we don't do something before December 31st of this year, there'll be middle-income Americans paying the alternative minimum tax. It was never intended that middle-income people pay that tax. And so I expect that it'll be reauthorized before the end of the year, and expect to get that done on a bill that includes, to make sure we don't get the biggest tax increase in the history of the country without a vote of the people, which will also happen on December 31st if we don't get it done. So I hope that we not only get the AMT fixed, but a lot of other tax provisions involving ethanol and biodiesel and a state tax as well. We've got about 2 weeks to get that done, and I surely hope it will get done. And by the way, there won't be much done on taxes this week, is my judgment, but we're spending practically the whole week on something we haven't done for 20 years, and that's dealing with the impeachment of a federal judge. Thank you very much for participating. I look forward to talking to you next week in the same way. So please send your questions, Ask Chuck, by next Monday, by Facebook tweet, or by email.